Hey everyone, I'm the Wiz, and nobody beats me.
No,
But
no,
I'm the
that's Angry
Wiz.
Larry. That's Angry Larry.
Yeah.
I'm the Duke, and we're here for the GnWC Royal Rumble preview show.
Do
Yeah!
you know I actually downloaded canned laughter, like sitcom stuff today? So
Oh,
if I knew you were going to do that, I would have had it ready.
in one of our episodes that you never watched or listened to, I actually did that. So,
Oh no, I remember you paused and
oh,
then you
okay.
added it
Oh,
in
okay.
later. I checked it. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I'm ready. I'm actually really ready for the Royal Rumble. They've done a great job. There's been a great build in general, but a good build in general. But Raw and SmackDown were just great go homes
Yeah, and
for
they're doing more of a
the
job
Royal Rumble.
not selling just the main event. They're
Yeah.
doing a great job selling all titles, and like for
Yep.
the first time in a long time, like everything feels like it matters, and that's what we were missing in the tail end of 2015, where it's like, well, where's our investment in this storyline? Like you just kind of like people are just kind of like wrestling, and now it's
Yeah.
like, well, now you took the time, and everything feels like it matters, and great.
Yeah, and we'll try to keep this as brief as possible so you can actually go back and watch Raw and SmackDown from this past week if you need to catch up, because it's really worth it. Like really, like you may be watching Raw and you're like, it's okay. I don't know why you're so big on this. And then you'll get to the promos from people like Becky Lynch or the very end of the show or crazy things that happen with Jericho, and well, that's at the beginning of the show. But anyway, there's just all these different things in and out of the ring that play well as great go homes
Yeah, and everything
for the Royal Rumble.
and everything felt like it mattered. So let's get right into it here. A pre-show was announced. I don't know when it was announced, but I noticed it today. The teams of the Ascension, the Dudleys, the pairing of Mark Henry and Jack Swagger, and the pairing of Darren Young and Damian Sandow kicks off the Royal Rumble on the pre-show in I guess a 4-way tag team match. Shocked that some of these people may not be in the Rumble because they're in this match. Question
Is
mark?
that a question?
Question mark?
Maybe a little, because I think Sandow will be a really, really big pop. But otherwise, I think most everyone.
Mark Henry not in the Rumble? You know what I mean? Like, you always have those big guys in the Rumble.
I just think they've got big plans.
Yeah,
and
I think so too.
So it's he just didn't fit into them, and Mark Henry has made no secret that he's kind of trying to leave.
But I think they even announced on Raw that it's going to be his last Royal Rumble match. And then, like, his Royal Rumble match is a pre-show match. He's not even in the Royal Rumble. So, I don't know.
Maybe he shows up.
Yeah, well, we're going to speculate that none of these people who are listed as matches are not double-dipping, even though we think that some might. But if we get into that debate, then it's kind of like going to take 45 minutes just to determine who can double-dip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just that segment.
Yeah. So as far as the pre-show goes, which team do you think is going to take the win?
Man, that's a hard one. I would say, I mean, pre-show is weird because there's no real storyline or anything, so it's like, does it matter? So, like, I think people would like to see Sandow win, but being paired with Darren Young, even though Darren Young's had some really good showings, off of the mainstream shows, I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to see Sandow win. I don't know who wins. I think it would be great if it was Mark Henry, since it's going to be his last show.
Mark Henry deserves better. Mark Henry pinning Damian Sandow is where I'll go with that. I think maybe the Dudleys and the Ascension brawl to the outside and then back to the dressing room, and Sandow's left alone with Mark Henry and Swagger somehow, and blah, 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 and World's Strongest Slam and the pinfall.
Well, I mean, and the Dudleys are back to, like, really help other people get over.
Yeah.
And it's not like Mark Henry needs to get over at this point in his career, but at the same time, if this is going to be like his last Royal Rumble match, then maybe he pins the Dudleys.
Maybe, but maybe they can finally do something with the Ascension going out of this, and maybe them and the Dudleys can wrestle a little while.
Yeah,
maybe
those are the
Ascension
only
can win.
two like actual tag teams.
Yeah. So we both think that Mark Henry is going to get the pin on somebody, and then
Would like to see that, yes.
and then we'll check out Renee Young's outfit a little bit more before the opening of the Royal Rumble show itself.
And her hair.
Her hair. Yeah, that's two things I guess you got to look for: her outfit and her hair, and I guess they're always spot
on point.
Yeah. So we're not really predicting the match order of the Royal Rumble. A lot of it has to do is if any of these guys are going to be double dipping. They'll probably get like the furthest, be like the furthest amount away in terms of time from the Royal Rumble match, just so they can just rest a bit. But we're going to start off like we always do with the tag teams. New Day coming out hot. Crowd likes the Usos, so, it'll just be a great match to get the crowd going. Tag team titles on the line. What do you think is going to happen here, Duke?
I'm torn.
I think one thing, before you start, I think one thing I really want to find out about this match is what play hard in the paint means. Are they basketball players? Are they like posting out for the rebound,
That's funny. I just don't know. This one's tough. And this is like one of those. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing because we talk about how it's a good thing all the time in the other realm. It's sort of like an NXT match for me because either way you can do a lot with it. I feel like the New Day Usos was something that was going to happen after WrestleMania or maybe after Elimination Chamber or something like that. And then, I guess it would be after WrestleMania. But then you had the injury. So I don't know if this is a finish to the story. I mean, Royal Rumble is one of your big deals, one of your big shows.
Yeah.
So I would assume this either ends or starts stories in most cases. So it's hard to call this one. I'll just call someone so I'm on record. I'm going to say New Day retains.
Okay. I'm going to go the opposite, though, right away. I'm going to say the Usos win because here's why. New Day have been good, but they've been the champs. If they're not, and they've dropped the titles in between somewhere. But if they're not the champs, they can really play up a crybaby type of role, really get be a whiny heel. And I think if they go back after the tag team championship, it kind of breathes like a little fresh life into them. Not that they're stale, but then they can go about it all in a different way. Kind of like Kevin Owens, like an obsession with the title, but they can do it in the most immature manner possible without like the violence that Kevin Owens does, props and all that. Or they lose the titles and they start finding themselves in singles roles, whether it's going after the U.S. title, if, depending on who wins the next match, or if it's going after an Intercontinental title or the heavyweight title. Probably not that, but you know what I mean? It's like now they're free to do things, and then they can do their shenanigans and maybe grab a couple single title straps. So I think here the Usos win, sets up something with one of the other many tag teams, because that's another problem with the New Day. When they hold the straps, there's like tunnel vision in the big picture.
There's no reason to look at anyone else, really.
But if the Usos have it, then it can come at any direction. Dudley's, Ascension, or Sandow and Darren Young, if we want to even consider that a team. But I'll go Usos, you go New Day, and either way, it's...
Let me throw out one more thing real quick. I'm not trying to, Okay, anyway, one more thing. So, one thing I didn't think about was the Jericho feud. Jericho feuding with New Day. I didn't even take that. I'm not going to change my answer. I'm going to stick with New Day, but I will say if New Day loses, then they probably will interfere in the Royal Rumble against Jericho.
That's fair.
Keep that feud alive.
Yeah.
If they lose, they'll take it out on Jericho, saying that he's basically he's caused all this. They're still grieving over Francesca.
Exactly.
Like
how could they wrestle a match if they're so down?
Right.
Royal Rumbles are certainly the type of match, or it has been the type of match that with 30 or that one time 40 competitors in the ring, or I guess the one time 20 competitors in the ring, other feuds spawn from it, and feuds carry over with guys pulling each other out or taking each other out in the match, and that sounds like a perfectly viable chance for that to happen during this Royal Rumble match. But as I was saying, the New Day could start on their own singles career after this match. Maybe one feuds with Jericho. Maybe one feuds with the winner of this next match, the U.S. title match, Alberto Del Rio versus the challenger, Kalisto. I don't care what it's called. Doesn't matter. But
yeah, I know. I say it different every time.
I noticed it today when Renee Young said it. I'm like, man, I've been saying it wrong pretty much my entire life. But we'll just call him Rey Mysterio because that's who it is under a different mask. Who do you think is going to win this match?
And in a younger body.
Tattoo removal.
I'm actually going with Kalisto on this just because. Does she say Callisto or Kalisto? Renee.
I don't even remember now.
Because Renee is.
She
love.
wore like
Renee
this
live.
half midriff shirt, and her hair was kind of like parted to the side. So I remember that, and I remember the beating he took, but I don't remember how she said his name.
I'm going with Kalisto, especially after the beatdown he took on SmackDown. The SmackDown he took on SmackDown from the League of Nations, which was great, and so I spoiled that for you if you haven't seen it yet. But once again, making the match matter, like you said, you're spot on with that. And I see him finally overcoming Del Rio, and and that feud being done, and Del Rio moving on to bigger and better things, or something. But yeah, I see Kalisto winning. It'll most I would imagine it'll be a pretty good match. Hopefully the crowd gets involved. That was the only thing I didn't like the last time he won, was the crowd didn't seem to get involved until the very end of the match, and the guys did it right. It's just the crowd didn't seem to get interested until there were high spots for some reason. I guess because it's Kalisto.
Well, also because when you have those matches on SmackDown,
true, the
crowd's not really expecting much out of the match. It's just like, oh Del Rio's going to win, retain the title. We're not going to see a title change.
Yeah, but that was like that. I mean, Mauro Ranallo plus that match kind of said, "Hey, SmackDown's turning over a new page, or turning, to a new chapter. Yeah. We're doing things that matter here." So,
Kalisto.
I'm going with Kalisto.
Kalisto. I'm gonna agree, and this is why. Because I'm so confident the Usos are going to win, I'm just going to take whoever you take from now on and win the prediction battle between us. But no, that's not true. I really talked myself into the New Day going into singles programs after they lose the title, and I don't see, like, if Del Rio has the title, I don't see that opportunity present itself. If Kalisto has the title, then maybe Xavier Woods comes into the picture, maybe Kofi Kingston comes in the picture, maybe Big E fights Jericho, like you said, that because I really like that idea. I think Kalisto winning here opens it up for like many branches in the booking tree to go from here, where like anybody can win this title at any time kind of deal now, and it won't be a U.S. Open challenge per se every week,
but sort of a TV title,
right? A TV title, anybody can feel it, unless it's like Steven Regal or Lord William Regal, sorry, or Arn Anderson holding the TV title, then they're guaranteed to have it for like 3 years. But if Kalisto has the U.S. title, then anybody feels like he can get it, and he's vulnerable at all times, and eventually eventually Goliath will slay David again, and there we go. But
right.
Okay, so
it's an easy story to write from.
Oh yeah, and it could come from anywhere.
Little guy.
Yeah. It could even be. Didn't Mark Henry beat Kalisto one week? Kalisto beat Mark Henry one week. Who beat Mark Henry? It was Neville. Okay.
It was Neville. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of Neville, this next match is for the Intercontinental title. It is Dean Ambrose versus the challenger Kevin Owens. You like that segue? That was pretty fresh.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. It was connected, but you had to be paying attention to the story to realize it's connected.
Yeah, it really wasn't connected. Actually, now I see how it was connected, but it was sick. Sick anyway. But Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens. Is it going to be Dean TV or the Kevin Owens show, Duke?
Oh my gosh, that was so good. That was.
I love the mention of Bears.
SmackDown. Watch SmackDown.
SmackDown was so good.
Yes. Kevin Owens is Bears. That was so good. using Mauro Ranallo or using the new SmackDown or using what did he say? Using the new SmackDown announcer as a weapon. That was so good. And they all just sat out of that, No one said anything. It was great.
No.
But because it was enough. I picked Dean. Dean's going to retain. I think this was a great way to elevate Dean as a more traditional, well, let's see, sort of throwback IC champion, but with his style to it. He's not necessarily traditional, but between the fact that it's a last man standing match, which is cool and something you haven't seen with the IC title in a while, like a match that kind of matters, and just like the match itself. I just think this was about Owens elevating, like, I know that sounds weird, but this was Owens elevating Ambrose so that the IC title matters.
Yeah.
And
okay. I can see that.
Again, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah, it should be reversed, but Owens is doing it in such a way where it's actually working. You know what I mean? It shouldn't work.
Exactly. It shouldn't work because
who's been where and how long, but
because he's the new guy and he's supposed to be main eventing by now according to the IWC and stuff like that. But to me, he elevates Ambrose, and then he finds a new target, and we'll see if the rumors start to come to fruition at the Royal Rumble or later. But yeah, we'll go from there.
I'm gonna say Ambrose. Dean Ambrose too, and I kind of like your idea. I feel like booking is really like in late December and especially up until now. I feel like booking is like hitting a stride here. I think they're putting this IC title at a point where like only like upper mid carders, those guys who are like just at the heavyweight championship level, I think that those are the guys going for the Intercontinental title. Former champions and top tier guys who aren't quite at the heavyweight, status yet. Not weight wise, but you know what I mean, title picture wise.
Yeah, I got you.
And the U.S. title, they're kind of selling out to be like the everyman's title, the lower mid card. And that's not a knock on Del Rio or Kalisto, but it's the way the title should be.
Yeah, well, which to me is why Del Rio is part of why he'll drop it, because
and Del Rio
you don't bring him back without bigger plans than that.
And Del Rio could certainly feud with Ambrose over the Intercontinental title once Ambrose wins.
That could be good.
Yeah, or Kofi Kingston feuds with him, and like I said, Kofi Kingston feuds with Ambrose and maybe Xavier Woods with Kalisto, and then maybe Jericho and Big E. Maybe they're just like, all of a sudden I have like 3 matches spawning from the new day at any given time. But that's speculation. That's fan. It's fan booking, but it works and it gives you that opportunity. Kevin Owens winning this title back, it would make sense from the standpoint of Kevin Owens is a viable winner. Certainly he can beat Dean Ambrose. Sure. But
especially in last man standing, you expect the more violent of the two to be the one that comes out,
But then what? Kevin Owens fights Dean Ambrose at Fastlane.
Where does Owens go from there? Yeah. It's not like there's going to be a title versus title match, right? So, especially if how we think the Royal Rumble is going to end up happens, that's definitely not happening.
Right. So I think Dean's good for the title too, and I think that certainly not only himself, but whoever his next challenges are, I think that they can work programs that would elevate them more towards being a realistic world heavyweight champion.
Right.
And then we'll have that island that really Roman Reigns and like Brock Lesnar are only standing on right now that are healthy.
Right.
I guess Sheamus is on the island too, but 90% of the fans don't buy that because they don't like Sheamus.
Well, it's just, it put Ambrose hanging on to it. And these, like you said, extremely upper mid card guys, extremely like right on the cusp of the main event guys, like really Del Rio should be. It gives them a place to really have extremely great matches with cool stipulations, gimmicks, and stuff like that.
And for however long we said that multiple titles was always stupid, you see the ramifications if there's only one world heavyweight title. You're never setting up other people to be on that level. And that's where you were with Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and then you have all the injuries, and then it's like, now what? So
yeah, but this kind of brings the IC title back to the Shawn Michaels.
And I think it's there. I think it's there already. I just but it's just now we got to keep it there.
Continues it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Speaking of Intercontinental Champions,
okay,
Ric Flair joins his daughter Charlotte against Becky Lynch for the Divas title. I don't even know if Rick ever had the Intercontinental title. He probably did. He probably had it when he was like 65 years old. But I'll look that up when you talk. But what do you think about this Divas title?
Oh man, God, like I hate to keep. I mean, I didn't do it for the New Day, but I hate to keep rooting for the baby faces. But I feel like that's all, like, it's all necessary for storylines to advance properly, and for the smokescreen of what I think will happen in the Royal Rumble. It's all part of the misdirection, which we need to not forget that point when we get there, by the way. Misdirection. But I say Becky Lynch because, number one, I mean, holy crap, to come from this faction garbage and them making her like, just this kind of goofy teenager type character that really, really loves puns or whatever. And to go from that to where she is now, I mean, she's basically, it's like that article someone wrote a while back. I don't know if you saw it, where someone says, WWE keeps looking for their Ronda Rousey. Becky Lynch is it. And I mean, she really is, and has kind of come into that, and not in a, cocky sort of way, but in a I'm going to rip your arm off sort of way. She's literally said that. So I think she's like, I think she's the little monster that you need in the Divas division, where everyone's so pretty. I mean, don't get me wrong, everyone's gorgeous in the Divas division, and that's what they're going for. That's that product. But I think Becky, being, in my opinion, one of the most gorgeous, has the most personality, or has a lot, at least with who they're highlighting right now. She has the most personality, and she can do a lot with the title, and she can be just a fun champion, and not necessarily in the Bayley sort of way, but in the more main roster, let's make this a serious title sort of way.
I think you're right. I think Becky wins the title. I'm hard pressed to overlook the fact that if Becky wins, Charlotte doesn't get a rematch. So maybe that happens at the next pay-per-view. But if Becky has the title, as opposed to Charlotte, you can get way more. And this is the theme of every title match in this program, in this live special, is that Becky. I feel like Becky is the person you can put the title on that will represent it well, have good matches, but you can throw everyone at her. And certainly the Divas division has, face, heel, and Bella, so there's a lot of people to mix and match and have feuds with too. But from Becky, you can have her with Charlotte. From Becky, you can have her with Brie Bella, or returning Nikki Bella, or Natalya. Like, because with Becky, you can have face versus face respect matches.
Right.
With Charlotte, it's just
kind of kind of already set up, really. Right.
Yeah. And with Charlotte, too quick to put the title off of her, but I think in the Divas division, you kind of need that hot-shotting. It's not even hot-shotting, but you kind of need those quick transitions, so it keeps the fans interested, and you always have a different diva in there rotating, so if someone doesn't like them, eventually you get to the point where you like a diva, and, like, you have a rooting interest, and it won't be dragging out like it was when, not to say that Nikki Bella wasn't good in her run, or AJ wasn't great in her run, but I think your 200 and something day title reigns, I think they're
300
something. I think they're long gone, at least for now, especially with this crew. And I think you can kind of set up, especially with all the girls behind them in NXT, you can start setting up these 2 to 3 month title reigns
Yeah, because somebody's coming up after WrestleMania. I mean, you just have to. I got to be honest. I know we'll get there. I don't know that it's Bailey. I don't know that Bailey or Balor are coming up this year, at least after WrestleMania. But we'll get to that. But I think you need someone to run with the title right now, who can be like this. I mean, I hate to use like really cliche terms, but sort of a firecracker, sort of like, your Stone Cold Steve Austin of the Divas division, where it's just like, she'll take down all, she'll deal with whatever comes her way, and she'll just, whatever she has to do, she's going to do it, and not in a heel sort of way. You know, she's sort of the anti-diva, anti-hero sort of, or anti-hero, where it's just like, you know what? If you're going to cheat on me, I'll cheat on you. Like she did the whole pull the tights thing, and
with 3 segments,
did the whole run-in thing and all that stuff.
With 3 segments and 2 main shows each week, there's no spots for the Divas to have like 12 Divas in the division all vying for the title. So I think that's why we're going to get a lot of the title changes lasting 1, 2 to 3 months right now, and a lot of Divas like taking a backstage kind of presence and then being in other shows and house shows, and not specifically on Raw, and then everything's going to kind of like cycle and rotate, and they're really going to cram them in when they can, but at the same time, you only have one feud going on. And I think that Becky winning the title, someone spoiling her run on Raw, whether it is Sasha Banks or Naomi maybe, and then all of a sudden now it's them for, I think Fastlane is the Tuesday, as the February pay-per-view, right? Or is Fastlane the one after WrestleMania?
No, Fastlane's after.
Okay, yeah, because that's where Roman Reigns had to wrestle that match with Daniel Bryan last year. So okay, so I think that's my prediction, and I like Becky Lynch as well. All right, moving on.
Yep.
1 versus all, the all being 29, maybe.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna spend some time on.
Oh wait. By the way, I did research.
Oh, okay.
Oklahoma City, September 19th, 2005. Ric Flair beat Carlito for the Intercontinental title. He held it one time.
There you go.
And then Shelton Benjamin beat Ric Flair in Trenton, New Jersey on February 20th, 2006. Almost 10 years ago, Ric Flair lost that title. So
there you go.
Research. You don't get that anywhere else. You probably get that everywhere else, but
yeah. But you researched during the show, to make sure your segue was valid.
And I tried to use the keyboard so lightly that you couldn't hear me slam.
I didn't hear anything.
No, but you can probably hear me drink water because I try to drink that so aggressively that it picks up on the mic.
You're like, oh.
Especially when you're talking, I try to distract you by just chewing on Pez and playing with a Pez dispenser. But the Royal Rumble match. Yes. I don't know if you know this, but Roman Reigns. Speaking of Pez, Royal Rumble match. Vince McMahon stacked the odds and put the title on the line. So Roman Reigns goes into it as champion, but he may not come out of it as champion. And Vince McMahon drew the number 1 position for Roman Reigns, as odd as that sounds.
I know. That seems like they set him up. That's so weird.
Yeah. That doesn't happen, though, in wrestling. Come on, it was live TV. How did they really fix that? But
how could they fix that?
I like when Stephanie said, believe me, this isn't McMahon's millions. We'll get it eventually.
Yeah.
That was great. I love that callback. That was awesome. All right, so first things first with this match. I've said it before. I'll say it again. This is my favorite match of the year. It's my favorite pay-per-view of the year, specifically for the match. I love the fact that there's 30 guys involved. You see everybody. You see people you haven't seen before, maybe, like with Rusev or Bo Dallas, if I wasn't watching NXT. They come in. Years past, they had associations with AAA and USWA. So you got kind of guys from other promotions. So over the years, it set a precedent for that kind of stuff. Also, the legends coming back. And in prior years, you had Diesel, you'd had Booker T. The year you had the announcers join it. Last year you had DDP and Bubba Ray Dudley come and fight. I think DDP was last year, right? You would know this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you had Bubba Ray Dudley and DDP come out. Michael Cole's been involved. JBL's been involved. It's just one of those matches where it's just every time that countdown hits, it's fun to yell out a random name, see if you're right, and then see who it is. You know what I mean? And I love that about this event. So, with that being said, give me some names here that you think might enter this Royal Rumble who will not appear on a WWE Superstar roster page? Question mark. No question mark. It wasn't a question. It was just a segue. ...
Okay. I mean,
Ellipses.
Can I just go ahead and jump to the obvious?
Go right ahead. Jump to the obvious.
AJ Styles. Like it seems like that's where, like, he, all everything points to he's showing up in this match. Now, is he showing up as a face? Is he showing up as a heel for the Authority? Who knows? But all everything points to AJ Styles shows up at the Royal Rumble, and people lose their minds.
Can I just say one thing before I forget it? Because it's not really kind of like a non-factor. What if AJ Styles shows up and he's not in the Royal Rumble match, but he heals out on Dean Ambrose after he wins the Intercontinental title, retains?
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool, right? Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles. I'd get on that.
Yeah. And maybe you even have ooh, man. Ooh. I mean, it's long-term planning, but it seems like they're actually committed to that these days. If you had if maybe instead of Owens doing what he did to Miz on SmackDown, instead of that, he too sweets AJ.
That'd be cool.
That would be pretty crazy.
That'd be pretty crazy.
It starts building that story very, very slowly, you know, and that faction starts coming together very, very slowly. So
that'd be cool. Though, and we'll talk more about that if it ever happens. But we'll say I said it just to say it because it came in my mind.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, so AJ's one. We know he's free of contract. He has his last date, I think, this weekend in
It's
Ring of Honor.
Literally the day before.
Yeah, it's the day before. And I think Ring of Honor actually cannot mention it though on their TV show. Like it's just the house show, and but they just canceled the house show. I don't know if it's that one because of the weather that's coming in the Northeast. So that's interesting too. That might be the show they canceled, but
it entirely could have been. It was Fleming, or wasn't it? I think it was Fleming, North Carolina or South Carolina, wherever Fleming is. I think it may be in both Carolinas, but I'm pretty sure it was a North Carolina show that I just saw was canceled. So yeah, I mean, it could very well be that he doesn't even, that it's canceled.
And I wonder if they'll give him a last date though. Like I wonder if WWE will give him what Del Rio could have had with AAA if AAA didn't drop the ball and cancel that taping. If they would,
it's not like he's holding a title for
no, it's not. But it's not. But all right, give me another name. Throw another name out there who we might see.
Okay. Man, this is tough. I'll throw this one. Can I throw out a legend?
Go ahead. Yeah, well, this is what we like about this part of the show.
Maybe Sting, since they've confirmed. He was the first confirmed for the Hall of Fame. Maybe Sting.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. Do you announce him as the first Hall of Fame guy, and then he gets thrown over the top? Just sort of thrown out of the ring. I don't know. I don't know that's. I feel really weird about that. That unless there's some sort of feud leading up to WrestleMania, which I don't think is going to happen. Now that they're saying Hall of Fame, but I don't know. It's hard to say that, but I mean, people would enjoy that. I think. What do you got? Give me something. Why don't you give me something?
All right, I have a few things here.
All right,
I'm going to say, well, you know what? I'm going to say my two picks because you had two picks, and I'm going to state the real unanimous, obvious decision after that, and we'll segue from there. I'm going to say Randy Orton comes back during this event.
Good call.
I think it's an event made for Randy Orton, so to speak. By the way, we consider Kane to be in the event, so we're not going to say Kane is a surprise return. But we already counted him into the match as well.
Because as you say, he's Mr. Royal Rumble.
He's Mr. Royal Rumble, I mean, yeah.
He was the guy with the record before Reigns broke it.
Right, but he still has the record for most thrown out, too. So,
right.
Randy Orton, he's featured prominently in the By the Numbers segment that they did for WWE, for Raw and the TV shows. And here's one for you. Speaking of Ric Flair losing the title 10 years ago, the Intercontinental title, Shelton Benjamin.
Ooh.
If we're not having Kofi Kingston in this match because he's in a tag team match and he's not going to double dip. And by the way, 2 New Day members are going to be wrestling in the tag team match, so the third one's always free to wrestle with like no, wear down or not tired.
Good point.
But I doubt it's going to be Big E and Xavier wrestling for the title. It'll probably be Kofi and Big E. But
if it is, then we will probably expect to see Kofi.
Right. And if Shelton Benjamin's in the match, maybe Shelton and Kofi do something spectacular together and then somehow wind up not eliminating each other and getting back into the ring. You know that deal. You got to continue the tradition of how many times is somebody going to be almost eliminated, from John Morrison to Kofi Kingston. And it's hard to think of this Royal Rumble without Kofi Kingston, but if he's not double dipping, how about Shelton Benjamin? I mean,
yeah.
Who knows what he's doing
And I think
now.
It'd be cool if they were both there.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of neat. So
yeah.
That'd be a good return.
And here, before I say this one person's name, that's really going to, like, everyone's head's going to perk up and be like, oh, yeah, if they haven't, already thought of him by now. I'm against NXT people going to the main roster before, like, they're ready. Right? You know that, right? I've said that a million times before.
Right.
Just, like, at spot on, just come in for one show and then leave. Some cases it works, like Sami Zayn, Rusev, and Bo Dallas winning a spot in the Royal Rumble works. But just like them, I think the Royal Rumble is a good match to put at least one NXT person for, like, a one-time only thing and then bring them, not have them be graduated to the main roster at this time.
Sure. I don't know who you're going to say.
No.
If you don't say who I'm don't say who I'm thinking of.
This is you answering me right now. I have my name. Give me one NXT superstar that could possibly show up in this match.
Well, see, I don't know who your name is.
I know, that's why.
So I hope I don't steal it.
You can go ahead and try to steal it. You won't.
Okay. All right. I think if you want someone that is a dominating presence, I think I know who you're going to say now. No, sorry. I'm sorry for stalling. I think someone that can come in and, like, actually get some eliminations and be scary and people will be like, who is this guy? And make people want to watch NXT is Colin Cassidy.
Do you know what's funny about this? This is why I asked you first, because I wanted to see, there's an off chance you guessed the guy I wanted, but I really wanted to see who you thought. I was thinking you'd say Apollo Crews based on his size, Corbin based on them wanting him to be like the big bad guy, Samoa Joe or Finn, just for get recognition.
Well, that's why I said I think I'm going to guess the guy that you're going to say.
And you say Colin Cassidy. It's not Colin Cassidy. I was not thinking of Colin Cassidy.
Okay.
But my guy comes in number 2. And why is that? Because he needs the microphone in his hand. Enzo Amore.
Oh, no. Okay, cool. Okay,
I think he comes out and he does his thing on the microphone, and it kind of sizes up the crowd, whether the crowd reacts with him and chants along with him, or if it's just like, okay, well, he just at least let his presence be known, and then the announcers can plug in it's NXT. The downside to that is he'll be going after Reigns. So it's not like Reigns can do like a who is this guy kind of look and make him look bad in the ring, like, like who are you kind of thing. But at the same time, if they're going to bring in an NXT person, I feel like maybe Enzo would be the best. Not the best wrestler, but I think the best fit. Because you always need a little bit of comedy in the Royal Rumble. And him with the microphone beforehand, and at the same time you gauge the fans' reaction, whether they know him or not. It's hard to believe that they wouldn't know him, but they have different audiences for those who can't believe it. Raw and the main roster and NXT. I think that'd be fun, and I think that'd be interesting if they did that. I'd be on board with it.
Yeah,
so,
and they're still in that intensity mode too.
Right.
Like, they've still got that they may turn heel type vibe about them.
Right. And if they were turning heel, it would be a great time for him to come out and smack talk Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns just throw him right out of the ring. And then this way 28 more left, and you can just
hey, you could still do Cassidy later.
Yeah,
you could still do Big Cass.
I said one though. I said one,
yeah,
and
you did say one.
You said your one. I said my one. But they're in Orlando, and that doesn't really mean anything. But NXT is in Orlando, and it'd be a good time to get somebody from NXT into the main roster, into a main event, like a main roster live show. And at the same time, give plenty of reason to plug the network, plug NXT, and all that. Okay, here's the name. Triple H.
All right. So I'm going to take full credit for this. Because to me, I just I think they telegraphed this, but they have buried it, or they have misdirected on it so hard, so hard, so hard. I even think that Jericho and him announcing that his announcement that he was going to be in the Royal Rumble.
He's the smoke and mirror.
I think he's the smoke and mirror. The announcers, they alluded to Reigns having a big problem without ever naming Triple H, and no one has said Triple H's name since he left.
Well, besides Roman Reigns and McMahon.
Besides Roman and that dumb promo that someone wrote for him.
And McMahon saying he attacked his brother-in-law instead of son-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
Which was almost as good as Rusev calling Jericho a stupid American, but
yeah. But yeah, I just minor mentions, right? Or creative gaffes,
but not until like.
But since the Stephanie incident where Stephanie got flipped into the ring and the announcers, said, "Oh, Roman, and everything got grave from there." Not graves, but grave from there. I think that this story has been well in the works, and Triple H says, "You know what? I know how we can pull this off." And here's what we have to do. Step 1, he destroys me at TLC. Step 2, step 2, we need someone to step in. Vince, you got to get back on TV. Step 3, don't even mention me. Step 4, we need to find a creative way for Stephanie to somehow not necessarily be injured, but be affected by something Roman does. Obviously, we're not going to let a man lay a hand on a woman in the PG environment, but we need some way for her to be affected by his actions in a physical way. Step 5, still do not mention my name. Step 6, we need a smokescreen. Chris Jericho.
Okay. So to stop you there, let me
and Jericho will come out 28th.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say. Where does Triple H come out? Where does Jericho come out? And obviously Roman Reigns is still in the ring when this happens.
Yeah, I would say, Reigns, whether it's, people teaming up with him and they end up going out by proxy or something, whatever. I think Reigns survives till 28. Jericho comes out at 28. Sheamus comes out at 29, so you're like, well, okay, this comes down to Roman and Sheamus, and then at 30, behold the King of Kings. It's
a little bit of delay after the buzzer goes off,
absolutely,
and then like just to build the anticipation, then all of a sudden you hear behold, and the crowd goes nuts.
Yeah, and
I like that.
Yeah, and you think about it, what is it? Oh, of course Lesnar. Hang on. Hold up. Hold the phone.
Well, Lesnar and Bray Wyatt now, because now they're making Bray Wyatt to be a major player in all this too.
Yeah, that's true. So there's a lot of standoff you always have those standoffs where there ends up being 3 or 4 guys in the ring that all have a reason to destroy each other.
Yeah.
And there are they have done a great job of just pointing you again. I think it's all part of the misdirection, though, pointing you in all these different directions of look at all these little feuds we put in the match, and all these guys, and we're showing you that all these guys have the potential to win. Brock Lesnar, he's the beast. Chris Jericho, he's the vet. And then you have Sheamus, who has a literal axe to grind. And then you have Bray Wyatt, who has essentially, monsters as servants, and who took down the beast.
And a potential unknown that is Triple H coming to exact his revenge to make sure that Roman Reigns doesn't walk out of there with the title.
Right, and talk about
always have a plan B.
Yeah, talk about it. Well, and it's the if you want things done right, you do it yourself approach.
Right.
That's the idea, and that I suspect that would be the promo. with him walking out. Now, again, there's still the chance that if AJ Styles is in this match, that he ends up being number 30 and Triple H just comes out and smiles, or comes out with him or something like that. And so he ends up being the heel. But I don't think people want to see him in that role. No. Of course, if he goes over Reigns, no one cares what his role is. People will be like, holy frick, it's AJ Styles and he's the champion,
And we're taking for granted how many people would know who AJ Styles is, though. You know what I mean? It's like, there's a lot of people who just watch WWE. And
that's true.
Don't know TNA, don't know Ring of Honor, and don't WWE is doing their very best to put AJ Styles' name out there, but not out there at the same time. You know what I mean? Right. It's like, well, we don't know about AJ Styles, but here's a picture of AJ Styles with a cat.
But if Hunter comes out with him, that adds significance to him. Yeah. You're like, even if you don't know who he is, you definitely know who Triple H is.
But again, in WWE, and this is where I get a little bit pessimistic as a fan. In WWE, they've never taken somebody from another federation and put them on top right away. Your only exception, and not even Sting's not even your only exception. Sting is a Lycon, and he got buried. He wasn't in the main event. You know what I mean? He wasn't in the main event, and Triple H beat him in his WWE debut. There's never been a person, to my recollection, that has come from Ring of Honor or TNA that hasn't started in NXT first, who has been on the main roster and has gone to Stardom right away without a little bit of humbling. You were in another company, your company's not superior to ours, you're going to be jobbing for a little bit kind of thing. Even the WCW guys coming in.
And we can talk about that. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens afterward. I have, if that were to happen where he actually was put in that position, I have opinions on that, but I don't want to drag out what we're doing here.
Right.
So
okay. So your final two guys are Triple H, Roman Reigns?
Yeah, I say if there's not some crazy thing where they put out Reigns early for some reason, I would see Reigns versus Triple H in the end, yes.
Okay, as we're talking, I'm kind of considering the fact that maybe Triple H is not in this match. And maybe that, because I'm looking at all the other names that could possibly be in the match, and I'm thinking maybe you don't need Triple H now, but maybe Triple H is saved for a title match with Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to see Roman Reigns come in at number 1 and leave with the title. I think that invalidates the Royal Rumble.
Completely.
But then you still can't talk me out of the fact that if he's not going to win, he's not going to be eliminated second to last. So who's going to be the guy to put him over?
Okay.
Sheamus, Wyatt. Like, I can't talk myself into any of these people winning except if somehow Roman Reigns does get screwed in the match, taken out, and then there's like a new final 4 in the ring: Bray Wyatt, Jericho, Lesnar, Sheamus, just to throw out 4 names. And then one of those people wins the title. Maybe Reigns gets it back at Fastlane, and then the Authority's pissed, and then they throw Triple H at him at WrestleMania. I like your idea a lot better. I'm just playing a little bit of devil's advocate and saying, like, I don't know what they could possibly do, because it's really like 2 scenarios. Someone eliminates Roman Reigns to end the Royal Rumble and win the title, or Roman Reigns goes the distance and wins the Royal Rumble. And that's my biggest gripe about this year's Royal Rumble, is the fact that I can't get talked out of those 2 scenarios being the only scenarios that they've booked themselves into. Because it's not the social. I mean, listen, how good would it be if the social outcasts were all in the ring at the same time and took out Roman Reigns? And then it's like, holy crap, 18 people left in this Royal Rumble, and all of a sudden, anybody can win the title.
Yeah.
Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns wins this Royal Rumble. Is it a repeat of last year when Daniel Bryan got thrown out of the ring? And now all you did to build up Roman Reigns is, negated, because now everyone hates Roman Reigns because they didn't want him to see him come in at number 1 and win the whole thing.
Right.
At the same time.
I think that it's one of those things where, like, you finally got him over, and he's the guy with the title. He's still not having the best promo work of his career, but now I will say he was good on Raw. He has
his moments, and then he has that cheesy, like, scripted promo in between.
Over-scripted junk. Yeah. So like when they let him just like go out there and like be a football player, he's great. Like go talk like a football player. Okay, go. Oh, so talk like me? Yeah, go talk like you. He does great.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think it's weird that you spend all this time to get him over, and then you pretty much destroy that if he wins this match, which sounds crazy. Back in the day, if the babyface were to do something like this, it'd be like, holy crap, he's Superman. But no pun intended. But with where the journey of Roman Reigns is, I feel like that's more than a roadblock at that point. Like that's a people like throw their hands up and say, all right, screw it. I'm going to do the same thing I did last year, and I'm not coming back this time.
Fans can get behind Rey Mysterio Jr. being number 1 and winning. Or number 2, whatever, like one of the first 2. I forget how they really numbered them. Fans could have gotten behind Val, who's been redacted, being number 1 and winning at the time. Fans could get behind Shawn Michaels being one of the first 2 people and going the whole way and winning. I don't think fans can get behind anybody in this day and age going the distance in the Royal Rumble and winning. I don't think there's that much of a favorite in the WWE. And I think if it's Roman Reigns, it's really looked down upon because of the way the reaction he got last year, the reaction he got most of the year, the reaction he got when he first won the title.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The only truly over person in the company still to this day is Cena. Sorry, it's just the only person they've spent the lion's share of airtime trying to get over is Reigns, and it's barely worked, and they finally got it to a sweet spot. And he's always been about overcoming odds. He's this pretty boy, but he's like the guy that the deck's always stacked against him. Well, it's working for him now, So,
but there has to become a point where the odds are just too great, and it's this match. And then if he wins this match, it's kind of like, well,
that's what I'm saying. If he wins this match, it's just like, wow. So then there's nothing else to throw at him. He's an unbeatable champion at this point, which is bad. It's really, 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 it's really bad. So, yeah, I just think someone has to go over him and have the championship, and then that's gives you plenty to do from here till WrestleMania.
I'm gonna pick someone different. I'm not gonna pick Triple H. I'm not gonna pick Roman Reigns. What's that?
Did you get my sneeze just now?
Oh no, I don't think I heard it unless I was talking and I couldn't hear it. But
yeah, sorry.
I'm not gonna pick Roman Reigns. I'm not gonna pick Triple H.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick Bray Wyatt. And besides for the fact that he was like last man standing Raw and SmackDown, I think and the fact that he's already had like a million feuds with Roman Reigns, I think it's really the only viable main event feud you can have right now that doesn't involve people coming back into the mix. Main roster guys. Bray Wyatt, champion, Roman Reigns chasing. Even if next month Roman Reigns wins it back, and then, like I said, the Authority just, I would say calls in all favors, but goes to all stops or whatever that term is, and it's time. Triple H is fighting Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
We're not putting 29 people in front of you. We're not putting you in, overcoming odds. We're just putting the game in front of you. And I think that's a good way to do it.
Well, let me
call back something I said a few prediction shows ago, or maybe it was on a weekly.
Okay, and let me revisit your Bray Wyatt Triple H scenario.
Okay.
After that, but I'll be quick because I think.
All right, do it now.
No. Go ahead.
No, go now. It's more topical now.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so if Bray Wyatt were to win, obviously he's got his minions, right? So that's easy storytelling. You've also got the fact that you've got the Authority who can say, we couldn't really control the monsters, so we just gave them a target. And so that's the story you tell. And people have been saying for a while, you need sort of neutral GMs, or which you've kind of, it seems like Jericho is almost that, but whatever. But anyway, people have been saying for a while the Authority needs to kind of get out of their own way and not be faces on NXT and social media and everywhere except on Raw. They're bad guys.
Right.
They're only bad guys there, right? So I feel like Wyatt winning and the Authority initially backing them is a good way to turn the Authority, maybe not necessarily face, but sort of get them backed off and you can still set up the Triple H thing where it becomes I'm going to have the match with the guy who deserves it, the guy we railroaded, and it becomes a respect match between Triple H and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. It's not about any of the other crap anymore, because now the Authority has realized, we've thrown everything at this guy, and then we put him in an impossible situation. We sicked monsters on him. He almost beat them, but then they overcame him. But ultimately, that's really on us. It's time for us to just, step up and say, you know what? We take responsibility for that. So Triple H takes the title, or wins the title from Wyatt, and he said, and then you end it with Reigns versus Triple H at Mania, and the Authority kind of steps back in some way, whether it's maybe not necessarily going full babyface, but it's not Stephanie having one-sided slap fights with people all the time and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I don't know if you waste the Triple H appearance though on Fastlane.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere though that they want.
I'm still saying that he can be the guy that kind of comes out either with the person who's going to win or after they win, and says thank you. Finally, someone did what I've been paying you guys to do for a year now,
right,
or something like that.
I think I said it best when I said it. I think after Raw to you in a message. No matter what, it comes down to Roman Reigns and whoever is representing the Authority to take down Roman Reigns. And if it's Bray Wyatt, it's Bray Wyatt. If it's Triple H, Triple H. It's still going to be down to those two men. I'll just go Bray Wyatt just to be different. Sure. Certainly Triple H is probably the better choice, or Roman Reigns. It's probably 50-50 between Roman Reigns and Triple H, even though Triple H has not been spoken of. But I'll go Roman Reigns just because I really don't want it to become that predictable that it's going to be one of the other two choices. Speaking of predictability and stuff like that, do you have any bolder predictions for us as we end this?
How about something crazy that could be an amazing creative stroke, but probably has no chance, just no chance of happening. Just think of if we could play Vince McMahon's theme song without getting content ID'd right now, that would be this segment. But how about all of a sudden Stephanie McMahon's music starts playing? She comes to the ring and just starts slapping people out of the ring, or people just leave or whatever, and nobody's going to lay a hand on her. And so people just kind of sit back and sort of avoid her, fight elsewhere, and she just kind of sits in the corner laughing. And when she sees someone that's going to go over, she goes and assists in pushing them over or something like that. Or, someone goes over the rope, but they're on the apron, and she goes and just, does her unbelievable, crazy, real shoot slap and knocks them off the apron. They're eliminated. So Stephanie actually gets eliminations. And then all of a sudden you hear bum, ba-da-da, bum, ba-da-da, and you have, I'm sorry for singing poorly, but all of a sudden you have Sasha Banks come out and she puts her out and just leaves. Doesn't, just Sasha, or maybe she goes out with her or something like that.
It's
and
okay.
Then they sort of, Or yeah, she could tope. Very good, very good. Like it could.
That's my
be,
contribution to your bowl prediction from before.
Yeah,
Very proud of it.
Well, the trick with the tope though is that
She goes middle
Stephanie
rope.
Stephanie would have to. Oh, you're saying she
Eliminates herself. Sasha.
Okay, yeah. Right. She eliminate. So she throws Stephanie out. Stephanie's jawing at her or whatever, and Sasha sort of turns her back on her, and you hear Stephanie scream, "Don't you turn your back on me!" So Sasha runs to the other rope, topes over the rope like she did over the ref in Sasha Bailey 1, and yeah, and you have your feud set for what is rumored to be a Stephanie McMahon match at Mania.
There's her opponent.
Yeah, and there's her opponent, and maybe one of them gets the title at some point. As much as I would like to see Becky take it all the way, I think you're right that the title will change hands a couple of times.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see that's the downside is I don't think Becky is a champion at a WrestleMania. And that might change my opinion on who wins that match because I think Charlotte could be because of name recognition,
At least
that
not
is
this year. Yeah, but if Stephanie's got the title,
or Stephanie's wrestling for the title against Sasha, it's probably a more viable match than if it's like Becky and Natalya. Nothing against those two, but like if you're gonna say like there's one spot at WrestleMania, and
it's boss versus boss.
Stephanie's in the match, yeah, boss versus boss works better. What else you got for bowl predictions for this SummerSlam? This Royal Rumble?
Yeah. That's the biggest thing I got.
Okay, I got a few.
I just think that would be interesting, and you could have, it would be extremely creative, which they've shown a penchant for starting to push the envelope a little bit lately. So that would be kind of cool. Let me throw one more thing out. I think I already said it, but just to say it again, someone with the New Day interferes with Jericho, and that feud continues. And it becomes more serious and less Rudy Tooty Booty. So it could be, the third member of New Day who doesn't really wrestle in the match, in the tag team match, or it could just be whatever, and maybe it does become a singles feud with the other two guys just sort of on the sideline being foils for Jericho. Who knows?
Right. Or two feuds at one time, or three feuds at one time, whether it's singles, a tag team, and an individual, or if they're just all three messing with Jericho. Here are my bold predictions, and some of them are cheesy, some of them are extreme.
Okay.
Speaking of New Day, what if New Day comes out as one competitor? All three members of New Day are in the match under one single number, like number 16.
Yeah, that would be pretty good.
Because I already said that 30 people allegedly asterisks to start the show. Because in my mind, I kind of think that the New Day is coming in, and they're all going to be one number.
Well, and the funny thing would be if they all come in and they're all like wearing, like sort of like a racing number, and they're all wearing the same racing number, like on the front of their jerseys, and they rip them off and get in.
Or if they hold like they hold like the ping pong ball they pulled, and it just says New Day on the piece of paper, or if they all have a number that says the same number. You know what I mean? So because it's kind of weird. This is the first time they pulled names from the bin, right? Instead of numbers, like people pulling their own number, like a name was drawn. So I don't know if they want to continue like that. I know it was fixed and it was a staged fixed segment and stuff like that, but I don't know if they wanted to do that because it'd be cool. Like New Day was drawn.
That'd be pretty funny. Pretty funny.
That's one. Number two is kind of out there, kind of not out there. Brock Lesnar, the person who eliminates Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman. I don't love it, but I'm kind of gonna distance myself from one of those two fighting Owens at WrestleMania and put it more towards like big man versus big man, as WWE likes to do so well in the past with other big men like Great Khali and all those other legends. Strowman's out of place against him, but I don't know. I think Strowman goes up. I think Strowman with the Wyatt family, maybe like an assist.
Sure, a good call, but and maybe that's the feud for now, is that it's Brock versus, because I mean, talk about elevating the Wyatts, win or lose, like every feud they've lost, it's just like, but they're going against the Beast. Nobody loses when you don't lose unless you're just off TV for the rest of your life.
Right.
If you wrestle Brock Lesnar, like New Day was just coming into their own, and there was the Japan special, and they just got completely annihilated by him. Did that hurt New Day?
Bo Dallas was the only one that really hurt.
Yeah, but again, underwear Bo Dallas. So,
all right, here's another one for you. 2-1 here. I think that with Roman Reigns still in the ring, I think that somehow he's in the ring alone with like 6 people left to come into the ring, and I think from number 24 on, or maybe 25 on, your talent just gets more legendary and legendary after that. Sheamus, Jericho, and like, okay, Lesnar, Batista, Triple H, whatever you want to say, Blackman,
Steve Blackman has to be in this match.
Anybody there, it's like at 24, it's just like, all competitors are on deck. It's for the title. It's never been for the title before. Let's forget about Ric Flair's title, but that was vacant. This is if someone has it. And it's just like every name is stronger and stronger at that point, except for number 29. Number 30, which is Curtis Axel, who then gets taken out from behind, and then somebody else, like Triple H, takes his place because he's unhappy what he's seen thus far in the Royal Rumble. So
now, see, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool if Triple H is just like, screw this.
Right.
And maybe even came down like in his suit and just like was ripping off wrestles in dress pants.
Right. Because Roman Reigns, let's figure Roman Reigns dominates for the first 20 competitors. He's already eliminated 13 people. Nobody's really putting their hands on Roman Reigns. And then like you get a couple legends out there, and Triple H is just like, screw this. We've got to take him out. And he attacks Curtis Axel. So Curtis Axel is now 2 years not eliminated from the Royal Rumble. So we continue that little fun storyline. And at the same time, that gets Triple H into the match being unannounced. Also, my last one here.
Okay.
With the whole getting better and better legends as time goes on during the match, how about 29 is Sting? All right, just saying. Let's be ignorant to statuses on health and stuff like that.
Right.
29 Sting. 30 hits. Lights out. Gong with the lights up. It's Sting and Undertaker face to face in the center of the ring, while everyone is kind of like laid out in the corner.
Yeah, and Reigns is even like, Reigns just kind of backs away.
No, they're all like on the ground, hurt in the corner,
like
resting, like how they do in the Royal Rumble. And it's just Sting and Undertaker face to face as the lights go up.
Yeah,
and then they brawl and somehow like
crazy.
Double eliminate each other and brawl to the back.
Yeah,
and that's
the match that allegedly will never happen, and the Hall of Fame thing makes it seem even less likely. But man, wow, yeah, people would go pretty nuts for that.
Yeah,
people go really nuts for that actually.
And that's how you set it up, and that's how you get 2 people into the ring who don't.
For that.
What's that?
I think people all over the industry would go nuts for that.
I think it's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 months of build up before these guys, and maybe you don't see these guys again until like the Raw after Fastlane, or with 2 weeks to go before WrestleMania. Like you really keep these guys off TV because you're going to build everything else, but like everyone knows it happened. And then somewhere along the line, someone shows up on Raw and the other person interjects, and you know how that goes with everything.
Or let me just throw in a little bit more crazy to it. How about Sting shows up and actually comes to the ring, and then whatever numbers they are, right? So Sting shows up, and then the next one is lights go out, gong is Taker comes up, and then lights go down with the crow sound again, and then they're just gone.
Would you like to add in like special effects like lightning and stuff like that?
No, please no. But they're just gone. Yeah, and it's just like, so are they eliminated?
That's the only downside is are they eliminated? So now they're two members in like a fatal 4-way match for the title at Fastlane because they were never eliminated. You can't prove it, and then You have
Right.
the regular rematch or whatever, Roman Reigns versus whoever for the title, and they interject. Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think you do that in the Royal Rumble, just because of the fact that not to say that everything needs to be realistic in the cartoon world of wrestling, but the whole like fooling the fans, making them look stupid, and then like validation of were they really eliminated from the Royal Rumble, kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, it's more of the ambiguity that has hurt the Royal Rumble.
Unless you bring up some like long forgotten rule in the in the footnotes of the history book,
which has never been brought up, by the way.
That says that if you're a competitor and you don't return to the ring by the time the last person gets thrown out, well, because it invalidates it, because there's been so many people like Santino and Rusev who've come in after the match has been over. And then, like, the match has been over then again when Del Rio threw out Santino and...
Well, like Axel, like Curtis Axel, and Spike Dudley. Like, you have these guys that...
Never made it to ring. Owen Hart never made it to the ring.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. So, they were valid entrants. What made them... Like, whatever invalidated them, so...
They didn't make it to the ring before the next competitor came out, I guess. But anyway.
But that's never stated.
And never stated. But then again, I don't think there's an official rule book on these things because it is wrestling. So
it is wrestling.
So Duke, it should be fun no matter what. I'm having a lot of fun watching these last Raws and SmackDowns, and I'm really excited for it. Top to bottom, I don't think there's a match on this card, pre-show excluded, that I don't think I'm interested in seeing who's going to be the winner. So why don't you give the big go home, the big send off, and we'll wrap it up.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure and give us a like if you like it. Dislike it if you dislike it. That's fine. We'll take whatever feedback we can get. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And with that, I am the Duke. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you. Later.
Get off my computer.